Hi everyone, Mallory McGrath here, founder of reDiscover Your Voice. I hope that you enjoyed the first part of episode 2 of our YouTube series, Nourish Your Voice, where I got to interview the kindness warrior, the lovely Sarah Maclachlan. We had so much fun that we had to split it into 2 parts. And so now you get to watch part 2. But before that, I just want to remind you to please reach out to us on social media, Instagram and Facebook, and join the reDiscover Your Voice movement group on Facebook so that you can get talking about vocal health with other singers. And be sure to let me know if there's some people that you want me to interview for this YouTube series, because I am really passionate about getting as much information about vocal health and vocal care and your well-being overall out there to you on a monthly basis. Thanks so much and enjoy part 2 of episode 2 of Nourish Your Voice. Have a great day, everyone. I think the thing that sometimes I really think about with reDiscover Your Voice is the idea that, you know, will I and will this company be able to get to people, shall I say, in time, not before they have a vocal cord injury, but will we get to them in time to be like, look, there is so much more to you than just singing. Yes. And if you're happy in all those other areas, that's actually just going to feed and fuel your true voice and make you the best singer that you can be, whether that's a star on Broadway or singing at the Met or selling out some big stadium tour. I mean, whatever type of singer you are, you've got to be this well-rounded, happy individual to be able to do your craft properly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing.
I've read recently too, that someone who said, when you're online and you're an entrepreneur, there's like just so much coming at you, so much noise coming at you, and it's like you gotta hustle and you gotta like, you know, all of this noise, and meaning like you have to have a passion, you have to have a purpose, you have to, and like back when I was trying to figure out kindness where that's what I was like, what am I gonna do with my, you know, like where are these skills transferable? But work doesn't always have to be your single purpose of thing, and that's just what I'm saying. When you're doing that value work. And I even like the word value over worthiness because I still feel like you have to do something to be worthy. You know what I mean? That for me personally.
Yeah, that's good.
What happens if that isn't your be all and end all? Mm-hmm. What happens if the way you love in your life or other things, you can be doing something on the side. I'm sure there's side hustles happening for other people that are doing vocal work. And like, what happens if there's an avenue that may just not be that you don't have to be load all your expectations, all your eggs on that one thing that has to be your thing. Exactly. What if you can get your joy and your satisfaction and your like all of that in other areas of your life, right? That's just another way to think of it, which is challenging for me because I have just been a workhorse my entire life. I thought that was my value. Yeah. Right. So this is new for me. I'm like, ooh, like trying not to work and not do that is like new for me to do. So it's like, well, how can I fill myself in other ways? Yeah. Think of that I have to have this purpose and have to have this thing. So that might take off some pressure as well. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
For sure. Now, are there things that you do on a daily basis? Are you a singer?
No. Sarah Maclachlan. Okay, so my name is Sarah. I'm married into the name Sarah Maclachlan, which is actually hilarious. We have disappointed so many people showing up to like reservations.
No, when I told my husband that I had an interview with Sarah Maclachlan, there was a double take. Because in his mind, he's like, there's no freaking way she has an interview with Sarah Maclachlan. But at the same time, I'm going to need you to explain who this woman is. But so I, despite you not being a singer, it doesn't really matter. Everyone has something that they're driven towards, something that they do in life. And so how do you stay focused and grounded on a daily basis? How do you keep yourself, feeling good, feeling positive, getting kindness out there, because, so that you can live this amazing life that you've built for yourself?
Now I've learned, and this is like anyone who's doing something for an external outward, right? Because you're explaining that, like, I can't even imagine the life of doing a vocal when you are so much emotion and all of this that you're putting into things. How do you take, and it's really, you just have to take care of yourself. Yeah. And this is not what we're grown up to know. No. Right? We are grown up to be like, take care of other people first. Yeah. That's the nice thing to do. That's the kind thing to do, is take care of everyone else, make sure everyone's happy.
Oh, we all do it.
Which is like, there's a people pleasing. But what I have learned, which is like a radical act of self-love and self-care for me, which was like, I need to put myself first. So for example, I didn't get to always do this because I got so angry when I had young children and people were like, you just need to get up early and have your time before the kids got up. And I was like, my kids are up all night. I see them all night. There is no time. Now, my kids are sleeping, so I can get up like a half an hour early. And when I do, I start off my day for me. Yeah. Right? So it's going to be like, Mom! Get up.
It's like, great feeling to start your day that way.
Okay, we're starting our day. Okay. I did a trick! Whatever. Is waking up in the morning and being like, okay, what? And I ask myself, this is my tip that I send to everyone, which is like, ask yourself. It's a little bit woo, but like literally you can put your hand on your heart and say, what do I need today? Like, Sarah, what do you need? Like, ask yourself and be surprised about what the answer is, or like, how do you feel today? Because maybe that'll change your intention for the day, which is like, if you're tired, like for months, my answer was like, I'm tired. And I was like, I know you're tired, but we have stuff to do. We have life to do. And it's like, I've started to realize that no, there's a message in there for me, which is yours. So that I do a heck load of journaling, because when it's in the head, I'm like get it out. Don't let all those ragey emotions and things that you're having, get it out in a journal practice, which is also like all these things were new to me. Okay, it's a little woo woo to be like, Sarah, what do you need today? But that was a start. Journaling was a start. Meditation was a rocky start. But now that's a way to really just bring my body and like get grounded, because that's I'm a doer. You can see I'm obviously very enthusiastic and passionate and whatever. I give out and expend a ton of energy, and I was always getting too depleted, and that was the sign.
Oh, that's like 100% me. 100%.
Right. But that being that, and that is not a signal that you are successful, that you gave, right? So like, we're surrounded by moms that you see on Instagram and workplaces that everyone's doing everything. I don't know how. But to what degree? And does it matter? For me, it was like I was getting constantly depleted. So now I know I'm trying to start being proactive instead of reactive, until being like totally, completely done, sick, etc. For like, your body's giving you signs.
Oh, yeah.
So listening to yourself and your body, and for me, it's like getting out of nature, meditating, journaling, and talking to myself.
That's awesome. Now, one last question. So singers, whatever genre they sing, whatever voice type they are putting so much emotion into what they do. So much emotion into the music itself, into the lyrics, into their performance. They're putting out positive emotions, negative emotions, angry emotions. Like, all these emotions are getting put out there into the universe, and I think of it like being sucked out of their body.
Yep.
And so if they're singing a death scene in an opera, as an example, I mean, you just think of the emotion that they're having to pull up, the memories they're having to pull up, whatever they're having to do. And that is, forget about the actual act and exhaustive level of singing. That act of emoting is exhausting.
Yes.
And so what sort of things would you recommend to help them refill, recharge, and prepare themselves to leave the make-believe world they were in and go back into the real world and be, like a good, happy, kind, joyous person?
I always say, so for me, it's connection, obviously. It's connection to yourself. So knowing what is going to, like, giving yourself the time before moving on to your next thing. Like, I'm sure it's like, I have a next show, I have to, I have a rehearsal, but like, knowing where your resilience level is.
Okay.
I want to see people feeling resilient, so that when you do an expended energy and you're sharing your gifts and you're just doing what you are made here to do, and then being like, I always thought I was an extrovert. This is an example. I thought I was an extrovert, which you can clearly see. I have realized I'm an extra introvert.
Okay.
And the fact that I can go out there and I can do a conference all day long. I can do like, I used to do wedding planning. So I am like, you are using all of your energy to do that. But then I need to build in time after to introvert, be by myself, like literally no one else. I'm like, I'm sorry, gals. I love my girls, and then my husband knows, but I'm like, I'm going to go back upstairs and I just need to rest. I need that solitude. I need that stuff. So planning that after these times that you are extroverting huge, that maybe the next morning you're taking your time just not to have anything, like space, flexibility, and then you can take the time to know what are the things that are going to get me recharged. But you can't just, you're not like a battery that you can just be like, oh, there's my phone, an hour later, I'm back up again. I did for years when I was doing events, but now I purposely, intentionally build that space in. I circle myself with many practitioners that help me energy work, which, I mean, that was all woo to me, okay? This is all new to me. Energy work.
Oh, my word.
Things that are, that's my energy that I'm learning to, that kind of thing. And building those things regularly, that's the self-care game, right? But self-care doesn't have to be like bubbles and champagne.
Which is, I think, what it could. That sounds lovely, actually, But I get what you're saying, and and like as I hear Sarah say these things about, you know, putting yourself first and doing all these things for yourself, the Mallory now goes, yes, I'm so working on trying to do that. But like, talk to me, you know, a year ago, and I would have been like, okay, easier said than done. And even now I find I struggle with that. Like, there's one element that I'm trying to incorporate into my life, and I'm incredibly struggling to do so. And I was like getting stressed out, trying to figure out how to add this self-care thing into my life. And then I realized I actually just stopped, and I went, you know what? It's going to come to me. Yes. I'm going to figure out how to put this in my life. Yes. But if I sit here thinking about it, brainstorming about it, journaling about it, it was getting a little obsessive, guys. I realized it's not going to happen because I'm so clouded by the actual act of figuring out how to have it happen. And all of the really amazing things that have happened in the past year are because they've just organically happened around me, and I haven't been looking for them. Like, I was not looking for reDiscover Your Voice. I literally had someone recommend the concept to me, and then it was just a massive snowball. Right. And I was so not looking for it. Wouldn't have even thought about it. So it's hard for, I know there's probably people watching this who are thinking, okay, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'll just schedule some in between the 8 auditions and the 3 performances I have in one day. And I get that. I so get that. But it is so important. And there will come a point, I think, in every singer's life where they realize, I can't maintain this lifestyle. I can't. If I want to take care of me, if I want to take care of those 2 little vocal cords rubbing together, I have got to prioritize my health and my well-being, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, the whole package. It just has to happen.
Well, can you imagine your performance when you are just, like, obviously this is your gift and you're here to do it, but can you imagine your performance when you're constantly just not able to recharge and giving it, because you can, because you're a professional. And
I hate that phrase.
Oh my gosh. But can you imagine when you were coming to your job feeling that you are overflowing? Like, can you imagine coming to a performance where you're like, I'm here, I'm feeling good, I'm like doing my thing, but being able to be resilient to come back. Can you imagine the difference in scope and change of your performance would be if you were coming from an overflowing state versus being
depleted
and just doing it.
And I know every single singer watching this, you have had that performance where you were like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be doing this, I am so tired, I'm so depleted.
Red flag!
Oh my God, I know. And I sometimes say to some singers, they've all been non-professionals, they haven't had contracts in front of them, which I know is a whole other ballgame, but I've said to some non-professional singers, you can sing that gig, you can sing that show, or you could sing 10 years from now. Like, you've got to think of what your long-term singing goals are, and what you want to be able to do as you age, as you get married, as you become a mom, as you start businesses. You've got to think, how am I taking care of myself so that my voice is in its tip-top shape all the time? And that's by taking care of you first and foremost.
Like, have you ever asked yourself, like, took the time, and this is what really transpired at Kindness Wear, because my year was coming up. I'd previously worked in a marketing corporate environment, and I was supposed to go back to work. And I've been very fortunate, we're super fortunate here in Canada that we have a year that we're able to take as well.
Yes.
So I do not I take that with a, very compassionate grain of salt. But, I said to my husband, I looked at him one day and I'm like, why do we have to do the things that everyone else thinks we're supposed to do? And I'm a bit of a badass that way. I can't say that. Maybe it's red hair. I've never really followed the same path. But I said to him, like, why do we have to do what our parents expect us to do? Why do we have to do, like,
oh God.
Because at some point you realize down the line, after I was excellent at next corporate gig, of my career, I was like peaking huge, having this amazing thing. I got the whole thing. And I was like, why do I have to keep on striving to the next level? Why do I have to go back to find a job that maybe I didn't want to go do?
Yep.
But so I literally took the time to connect and be like, what do I want to do? My husband, what do you want to do? Like, what's our long game, end game here?
Yes.
Because you can get caught up in, like, I'm sure, the next show, what's the next thing? Because as a singer, it's not like you have a salary position where you have a 40-year career doing the same thing.
And that's such a thing. I know that in schools, not just classical schools, all schools that are teaching singing, I know they teach you about the business and how to survive in it and how to thrive in it. But the thing that is lacking, at least in Canada, I don't know about the US, but Canada's singing educational system is how to take care of yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Because you are just being told to push and succeed and compete and do all these things. And if you actually think about all the things that you are being told in just your first year of school, all of them kind of revolve around something negative. It revolve around this negative emotion, this urgency all the time, instead of actually caring for the voice that they are training.
Yes.
And that is such a huge thing. And that's what I'm really hoping that by bringing in amazing people like Sarah and the Kindness Warrior here to talk with us, is the idea that we can kind of break that habit and help this next generation of singers to realize that yes, you can achieve all those goals you set out for you. 100% you can. But to do that, you've got to take care of you, and you've got to put yourself first and take care of that beautiful body and those lovely vocal cords that you have been given.
This is why I can appreciate why you're doing this, and everyone who's watching, because these are the conversations that normally don't happen.
They do not.
Okay? Or they do. They happen like when you're crying at the end of your show and you're like, I can't do this anymore. That's your trusted thing, right? Like, but having this open dialogue, knowing that people exist out here that want to have these conversations, that want to like bust through the blocks. And it took me a long time to be this roundable to talk about these things. But I know that if I've done it or I'm answering a question, someone else is asking that. And I know there's beautiful, amazing, gifted singers out there that are like asking these questions. And so this is a dialogue that we're going to have, you know? This is the place that we're having, and like reaching out to us, having conversations. Don't hesitate, either of us. I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. But like, you guys should all be following the Kindness Warrior, and you can reach out to her. I mean, I think I reached out to you once like a year ago, and you just responded right away. She had no idea who I was, but you're like so great at interacting with the people who follow you, and just putting out there some amazing daily mantras, motivations. And it was really uplifting. There were a couple people I was following that were making me feel really, really great and motivated this past year while I was building this business, and Sarah was one of them. And so I think that she is a great tool, shall we say, for singers out there to like help you stay centered and focused on all of your goals, all of your dreams, and the singer that you want to be. So thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah Maclachlan, the Kindness Warrior. Thank you so much for joining us today on Nourish Your Voice. We really loved having you. And everyone, just check below. You'll see all the ways to connect with Sarah. And thank you so much for tuning into episode 2 of Nourish Your Voice. Bye, everybody. Thanks.